A quiet alliance is forming between two countries you rarely hear mentioned in the same sentence: Canada and Sweden. From Arctic mapping to high-tech defense cooperation, this 2025 partnership is shifting influence across the Atlantic. And while Washington keeps one eye on Europe, Ottawa is building a new bridge to the north, a bridge the U.S. may not be able to control. Today we're diving into why Canada is teaming up with Sweden, and what it means for the future of trade, technology, and security. Welcome to Geo Capitalist, where we decode global wealth one power shift at a time. If you want to see the hidden forces shaping tomorrow's markets, subscribe now, because the strategies being built today will define the next decade. In early 2025, Canada entered advanced talks with Sweden over a potential diversification of its defense procurement strategy. While Ottawa already operates U.S.-built F-35 fighter jets, discussions now include the possibility of locally assembling Sweden's Saab Grippen, a multi-role aircraft known for cost efficiency and operational flexibility. This idea didn't appear out of thin air. Canadian policymakers have long wanted to reduce dependence on U.S. supply chains, particularly after delays and cost overruns in past procurement programs. Sweden's role here is strategic. Unlike other European suppliers, Saab offers production partnership models, meaning assembly and maintenance could take place in Canada, creating jobs while maintaining high standards. For Sweden, this represents a gateway into the North American defense market without going through U.S. contractors. The timing is key. Canada is modernizing its forces as part of a wider NATO readiness commitment, and Sweden, having just joined NATO, is looking to integrate more deeply into transatlantic defense systems. A Grippen assembly line on Canadian soil would strengthen bilateral ties, open new export possibilities, and send a subtle message: Ottawa is willing to diversify beyond its traditional defense suppliers. While the U.S. remains Canada's largest security partner, this kind of partnership shows how smaller but technologically advanced allies can reshape procurement conversations, especially when economic benefits align with strategic autonomy. When Sweden officially joined NATO in 2023, one of its earliest cooperative moves was to join Canada in a high-profile mission, the NATO Multinational Brigade in Latvia. This is no small deployment. It's part of the alliance's broader effort to strengthen its eastern presence and reassure member states in the Baltic region. Canada has led this brigade since its creation, and Sweden's integration brings fresh capabilities, especially in coastal defense, surveillance, and cold weather operations. For Canada, Sweden's participation is more than symbolic. It signals that Stockholm is ready to commit real resources to shared security objectives, a fact that resonates with Ottawa's strategic priorities. The addition of Swedish expertise in advanced sensors, communications, and Arctic-capable vehicles complements Canadian forces operating in challenging northern climates. From a political standpoint, this cooperation reinforces both nations' credibility within NATO. Canada gains a partner whose defense industry is nimble, innovative, and closely aligned with European Union standards. Sweden benefits from the operational experience of Canadian forces in multinational missions and gains a direct voice in shaping NATO's posture on the Baltic front. This isn't about replacing the U.S. role in NATO, far from it, but it is about ensuring that smaller and mid-sized allies can collaborate in ways that improve the alliance's resilience without waiting for Washington's direction. In a world where speed and adaptability are increasingly critical, Canada and Sweden's joint work in Latvia represents a model for how allies can combine resources to create outsized strategic value. One of the least publicized, yet most significant, aspects of the Canada-Sweden relationship is their collaboration in Arctic research. In July 2025, the Swedish icebreaker Oden and the Canadian Coast Guard ship Louis S. Saint Laurent embarked on a joint expedition to map the Arctic seabed. At first glance, this might seem purely scientific, but the implications go far beyond cartography. The project, known as Polar Connect, is exploring potential routes for undersea data cables that could link North America to Europe through the Arctic. If realized, these cables would dramatically shorten internet latency between continents, benefiting financial markets, scientific collaboration, and high-speed communications. For Canada, this is a chance to position itself as a key digital bridge in the emerging polar economy. Sweden brings specialized ice navigation expertise, advanced mapping technologies, and decades of polar research experience. Canada contributes its geographic reach, logistical capacity, and direct access to Arctic waters. Together, they can gather and share data that not only informs navigation and infrastructure planning, but also strengthens claims under international maritime frameworks. By working jointly in such a challenging environment, both nations are also demonstrating how Arctic cooperation can be built on sustainability, transparency, and shared scientific goals. And critically, this work strengthens their voices in future Arctic governance debates, a space where the US, Russia, and other powers already compete for influence. In short, Arctic science is giving Canada and Sweden both hard data and soft power. Behind the political headlines, there's a quieter success story unfolding in boardrooms. According to the 2025 Sweden-Canada Business Climate Survey, nearly 80% of Swedish companies operating in Canada reported profitability last year. Even more telling, over half plan to expand their investments in the coming 12 months. The draw isn't just Canada's stable economy. Shared values like sustainability, corporate transparency, and a rules-based approach to trade make it easier for Swedish executives to navigate Canadian markets. And thanks to the Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement, CETA, between Canada and the EU, Swedish firms enjoy tariff-free access and simplified regulatory processes, benefits that American competitors can't always match. Sectors seeing the fastest growth include clean technology, telecommunications, life sciences, and advanced manufacturing. Companies like Ericsson have carved out a dominant role in Canada's 5G infrastructure, while Swedish engineering firms are partnering with Canadian counterparts on renewable energy and public transit projects. This isn't a one-way street. Canadian mining companies are finding strong demand for critical minerals in Sweden's industrial supply chain, feeding into everything from battery production to wind turbine manufacturing. The economic logic is clear. When two mid-sized, innovation-driven economies remove trade friction, the potential for high-value growth multiplies. For Ottawa, this business climate is proof that the Sweden relationship is more than a diplomatic talking point. It's a living, growing economic partnership that reinforces Canada's diversification strategy. For Stockholm, it's a bridge to North America that doesn't run solely through Washington. The legal and institutional backbone of the Canada-Sweden relationship is CETA, the Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement between Canada and the EU. It's one of the most advanced trade pacts in the world, covering not just tariffs but also labor standards, environmental safeguards, intellectual property, and digital commerce. Under CETA, Swedish goods from industrial machinery to pharmaceuticals can enter Canada with zero tariffs. Canadian exports, from agricultural products to aerospace components, get the same preferential treatment in Sweden. This symmetry creates a predictable environment for long-term investment, something both governments actively promote. What makes this particularly significant is that CETA allows Canada to deepen ties with individual EU member states like Sweden, while also maintaining a broader European relationship. This flexibility means that Ottawa can tailor partnerships to match sector strengths. For example, focusing on Sweden for advanced manufacturing and green tech, while looking to other EU states for different specialties. For Sweden, CETA is a way to tap into Canadian raw materials, energy exports, and innovative startups without the geopolitical friction that can come with U.S. trade policy. For Canada, it's a hedge, a way to expand its economic reach without over-reliance on a single partner. This framework also creates space for cooperation in emerging areas like the digital economy, climate action, and sustainable finance, sectors where both Sweden and Canada want to lead globally. In an era where trade agreements are often viewed through a purely competitive lens, CETA stands out as a platform for win-win economic diplomacy. Canada and Sweden share something few nations do: serious stakes in the Arctic. Both operate powerful icebreakers, both invest heavily in polar research, and both see the region not just as a frontier for science, but as a strategic transit and resource hub. In July 2025, the Swedish icebreaker Odin and Canada's CCGS Louis S. Saint Laurent prepared for a joint expedition to map the Arctic seabed. Beyond scientific value, these surveys inform future shipping lanes, undersea communications routes, and environmental protections. The Polar Connect project, which includes exploring subsea cable paths linking Europe and North America, has the potential to reshape global data flows. Sweden's decision to raise its defense spending to 3.5% of GDP by 2026 also signals that it intends to be more than a passive Arctic observer. While Canada frames its Arctic policy around sovereignty, sustainability, and indigenous partnership, Sweden's increased capabilities make it a credible northern collaborator. For Ottawa, this Arctic cooperation diversifies its strategic partnerships and reduces dependency on a single transatlantic ally. For Stockholm, it's a ticket to greater influence in the High North, a region that will grow in importance as climate and trade routes evolve. The Canada-Sweden partnership isn't just about raw materials, it's increasingly about technology, innovation, and value-added trade. Ericsson, the Swedish telecom giant, is a prime example. It holds a leading role in Canada's 5G rollout, creating infrastructure critical for everything from autonomous vehicles to smart manufacturing. Meanwhile, Canadian exports to Sweden are moving up the value chain. In mid-2025, Canada shipped gas turbines and high-grade nickel to Sweden, inputs for green energy projects and advanced industrial production. These are not low-margin commodities, they're strategic building blocks for the industries both nations see as future growth drivers. Technology exchange also extends to clean energy storage, cybersecurity, and health tech, areas where Swedish precision engineering meets Canadian research and resource capacity. This creates a virtuous cycle. Swedish investment boosts Canadian innovation, while Canadian resources and know-how fuel Swedish manufacturing. This shift from simple goods exchange to joint value creation is what economists call deep integration. It's harder to disrupt, more profitable over time, and better aligned with the sustainability goals both countries publicly champion. This Canada-Sweden partnership is about more than just two nations trading goods. It's a blueprint for how mid-sized, innovation-driven economies can punch above their weight in a multipolar world. By aligning on trade rules through CETA, collaborating in NATO's eastern flank, investing jointly in Arctic infrastructure, and exchanging high-value technology, Ottawa and Stockholm are building a relationship resilient to the political swings of larger powers. For Canada, it's a clear statement. It can diversify strategic partnerships without sacrificing economic growth. For Sweden, it's proof that EU membership and NATO participation can coexist with tailored bilateral opportunities. And for the US, it's a reminder that even its closest partners have options. When regulatory standards match, infrastructure connects and capital flows both ways, the gravitational pull of Washington weakens. If successful, the Canada-Sweden model could be replicated with other mid-sized partners, from Northern Europe to the Indo-Pacific, creating a web of cooperative links that bypass traditional dependency patterns. This isn't about replacing old alliances, but about building new ones fit for the 21st century. Alliances based on innovation, sustainability, and balanced influence. And that's a playbook worth watching. If you found this breakdown valuable, watch our next video. It connects directly to what's unfolding. And don't forget to subscribe. Your support helps us decode these global shifts without compromise. Let us know in the comments, is Canada simply diversifying, or is this the start of a permanent clean tech realignment? Either way, the world is watching. This was why Canada is teaming up with Sweden, and the US can't stop it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.